have a feeling the president talking about inflation won't mention Olivia Newton-John, but James did, and we're happy for that. These new inflation numbers coming as President Biden claims that rising prices have more to do with outside forces than his own economic mismanagement. Joining us right now to discuss, Chris Markowski and Charles Mizrahi. Chris, I'll start with you. Your take on what we're seeing right here.
I mean, it's funny. We were talking about this last summer, and everybody was telling us transitory, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's going to get worse instead of better. And last week, actually, the San Francisco Federal Reserve put out a report basically saying that $1.9 trillion package that was put out by Joe Biden, that was basically fuel on the fire. Inflation's a monetary issue, and there's just way too much money sloshing around. The Fed is way behind the curve. I'd like to see them run off the balance sheet in a much, much faster mode because, again, we're getting nothing but bad news after bad news. And you talk about wages coming up. Yeah, people are stuck on a bloody hamster wheel, for crying out loud. They might be making more money, but they're spending more. And I'm not buying this 8% either. I think it's much higher than I think it's well above 10.
Charles, what will it take to turn it around?
Turn it around? Well, to tame inflation, the economy's going to have to slow, and the Fed's going to use the only tool they really have. Well, they have two tools, but the one they're going to use is raising interest rates. Because if you don't get ahead of inflation, which they're playing from behind right now, it can just keep moving higher. So the real question is, are they going to put us into recession? And the track record really isn't that good. Over the past 16 times they've tightened, 13 out of 16 times we headed into recession. So that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, Charles, let me ask you about this. To remind people, we've had years in which it's 1.2%. Like back in 2020, the last year of the Trump presidency, it was 1.2% for the year. We just had that in the past month. Now, if you say, well, it was a pandemic year, okay, let's go to 2019, 1.8%. So, Charles, this seems to have gotten out of hand fairly quickly. Has Biden contributed to that and the Democrats by giving people money, sending them stimulus checks, that sort of thing? Has that played a role?
Oh, no question. We've had the worst combination of fiscal and monetary policy, I think, in the last 50 or plus years. You have an administration that there wasn't a bill they didn't sign to put more money into the system. And we were talking billions in the beginning. Now we're talking trillions of dollars into a system,
right?
Into an economy which was recovering from COVID, which the first stimulus seemed to work because it didn't raise inflation, as you were mentioning before. Now you have monetary policy, fiscal policy, which is just absolutely terrible. The Fed was denying it, as Chris was mentioning. They were saying it was transitory. Third thing you have is a situation where you have so much money into the system, just driving prices higher. And the most important thing, the way I see it, is a tight labor market. 60+% of a business's expense is labor. And try to hire someone today, and you see what type of inflation there is for that. So you have a combination of a convergence of unforced errors caused by an administration that just didn't get it right.
All right, Chris Markowski, Charles Mizrahi, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
More of American Agenda after this.